to reveal JC, yeah.
Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah. Let's just get started. It's time for the righteous recap of Chicago P.D.
I love it.
Real quick. Season 9, episode 7. Trust me. Yeah, trust me. Ridiculous. Anyway, everybody watch this mess, right? As a team works to bring down a drug ring. Okay, whatever. Voight builds trust with the new informant. However, it soon becomes clear she has a plan of her own. Blah, blah, blah. Let's get to it, Mike.
So here's what I loved. I loved that in the first 5 seconds, we knew this chick randomly on the side of the road who yells, "Behind you," was going to be in the story way more than just behind you.
Especially when there was the moment when he goes, "Oh, hold on, guys. Even though we're having a scene, let me go talk to a witness real quick." Something we never do in any other episode ever.
Right.
Please.
So that part was funny.
A little heavy-handed.
What I loved was, I loved the realness of them getting robbed undercover. Because I like that they were like,
that good?
What? And then
Atwater almost killed.
And
they came in spraying.
And these dudes dropped so fast that the dude standing up caught all the bullets.
It
that was a so Atwater and Ruzek was like, what?
Nope.
All they heard was the door kick open, and they already know.
Drop first. This is Chicago.
Right.
This ain't Beverly Hills.
I love even more that when it happened, you guys need somebody on the team needs to carry more than just the 9mm.
Thank you.
Because these dudes are spraying AKs or assault rifles or what is it? What did he say they had? Semi-automatics. And you guys come out with these ping, ping, pings. And this dude's getting, to your ping, he's getting 5.
But they don't even do the ping because when the Voight guy who got punched in the face, that we're not going to discuss, when he said to the guy who punched him in the face, "Hey, they're coming your way."
No one shot.
We're coming your way. They're getting ready to show up where you are.
Right.
You now know they're showing up. They show up to your left. They're in an alley. There's only one direction they could go.
And you didn't shoot nobody.
And their back is towards you. You told them to stop. And I was so shocked that when they said stop, I don't know about you, Mike, I was flabbergasted. I literally pushed pause. I nearly passed out and fainted. I got onto the floor. I was remonstrating to the Lord. I was tearing my shirt off and just said, "Lord, how in the world did they not just stop,
right,
drop their stuff, and put their hands up? Because after all, they were told to stop." So after I got over my shock and watched, I go, "Shoot them!"
And that was my thing. So
I shoot them right there.
I was more mad because Dick Wolf, you are very politically liberal.
Thank you.
So we know it's Chicago, so we just assume they're black. Why didn't you shoot anybody in the back? Because I just laughed,
especially
thinking,
after they just murder somebody. They now
have
have semi-automatic.
They murdered somebody. They shot at 2 of the other team member cops. And y'all didn't. And then when you finally pulled the trigger, thankfully
you waited until you were in line with everyone else.
But I was happy they actually shot the car, so now we can know the car with the window out is the car that got the bad guys in it. Okay, fine. But we didn't shoot not one. We didn't pull one trigger.
Thank you. So you don't mind shooting a vehicle,
right?
We draw the line at shooting murderers.
Right.
Because, again, we don't want Hailey or whatever her name is getting all, "Oh, my God, I shot someone who was running away just because they're a murderer and just because I'm a cop with guns."
Thank you.
So I filled mine with blanks.
Right, yeah. She said, "Well, you know what happened to Alec?"
Wow. Wow. Hashtag too soon.
I'm sorry.
Too soon.
I was trying to let it go, but these
But why in the world are they using real bullets? But anyway.
Right.
So, meanwhile, on this show,
they don't shoot.
It's not a problem. They don't shoot anybody.
It's kind of like really fire with water.
Yes. They don't have water. They don't have bullets. So I like that. I like the consistency.
Right.
Please just stop. But we said please again. So, of course, that happens. And I'm looking at, what's her face? Hailey, right?
Right, Hailey, yeah.
When she's to the right, I know she's not going to shoot.
Right.
But with him...
Jay, come on, Jay. And you was a sharpshooter. You got accuracy.
But because he doesn't trust Voight, as he tells us later that we're going to break down in a minute, he doesn't trust Voight. When Voight said they're on their way, he goes, "Oh, that must mean they're not on their way because I don't trust anything about Voight, and he's a rotten cop that I work for." And
for 9 years.
For 9 years. And I punched him in the face, and he didn't do anything back because he's such a bad guy and evil that, of course, that's what a bad evil guy would do, would allow me to punch him in the face and then keep working professionally with me the whole time and treating me with the utmost respect and keeping boundaries there at work about personal lives because he's such a bad guy. Get it?
Love it.
He should be pissed at his wife.
Right.
Why the mother luck did you tell me this thing?
Just keep it to yourself.
That is totally fine a day later.
Right.
Where's your breakdown?
A week later, at least a week.
Yeah, that's your week. Where's your breakdown?
Right.
Where's all the cases you solved being at the place at 4 a.m. looking through files? Where is it? And just one gripe. This is just in general with all of these shows. Fire, Med, no, not Med, but Fire and PD. We had a world history of 20 years of CSIs, of Matlocks, of Law and Orders. We learned with OJ looking for the real killer. We found this world that they showed us, follow the science.
Right.
Particles. A piece of a particle of a hair, of a fiber of a particle's hair on something goes, oh my God, this person is 39 years old. They were here yesterday. They sipped a Coke and said hello, and their favorite show is Judge Judy. How do you know that? Because this microscopic piece of evidence from a sneeze is here. They can't find nothing on any crime scene. It was totally clean. The guy totally... How? After you showed us over and over again, but then you want us to believe that, yeah, they can't... All these wonderful mastermind criminals who live in Chicago,
right,
of all, because that's where criminals want to live, are totally fine, and then can get caught by a lone CI lady who's mad about her brother.
Right. Well, I will say I loved the CI. I loved it more that she worked for the DEA as well. I like that Voight called and said, "Who do you work for?" I love that because that was perfect.
And that shows again the writers care about his story. I'm not gonna say it, but just care about his character.
Right.
And he's smart.
So can we talk about that too? So when it opened up, I hate when we don't get context, but I hate when I know the context without getting the context. So when he's sitting down at the diner, he orders the burgers, he has a shake, and I'm like, oh, it's the anniversary of his son's death. I didn't think birthday. I just thought this is something me and my son used to do.
Yeah.
So I was even more mad when he said when she was talking about her reason for why she does it. She said, "Don't you have a kid?" "Oh, I have a son." He didn't say my son's dead. He said I have a son. And then she goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Don't you guys? Isn't there something?" He's like, "Yeah, we actually did today. It's his birthday, and we went for burgers and shakes."
No, he said we went for burgers and shakes. He said our thing is to get together for burgers and shakes.
Right, and I loved.
Oh, that broke my heart.
I loved it because I again wanted it, and I was like, because I immediately tweeted, "Oh, was this?" Because somebody else said something about Al, and I'm like, him and Al never went for burgers. That doesn't make any sense. Not him. So,
and Al doesn't like chocolate shakes,
right? So when he did it, I was like, "Oh, this is to his son. This is a tribute that he hasn't forgotten, Justin." Because I was starting to be a little upset about not hearing about the son. Because I mean, that's something you lose a kid, yes, but you don't forget them.
No.
So I like that we got.
So Halstead, stay back.
Peppered in.
That was his way of saying, "Don't come at me, Halstead."
I remember. Right.
I'm ordering the same meal.
Right. And I felt.
It broke my heart. It really did.
I love that Trudy was like, no, I couldn't touch it.
Yeah.
Can you make sure somebody? Oh, the vultures around here. They're gonna.
I loved how when he walked in,
she knew.
She said, "Oh, you couldn't even finish it this time." So there's been a progression
of him
staying there long, eating the meal,
right,
and then now to the point of I can't. So instead of it getting better,
it's getting worse.
It's getting worse. It's devolving,
right,
and. What I like is without them being heavy-handed, they're subtly showing
he's human.
I love that he's always human, but
I mean, like, I giving that
but his team are his kids,
right,
and he's father, and what's interesting about that is he always how do I say it? Because I haven't seen it since the beginning. I've only been watching for 2 seasons. But the sense is he likes taking the garbage onto himself.
He'll always be the one, like,
for the
if they're
team.
going at him, at the team. Or Ruzek, for instance, he makes sure to get in the middle. Like, he intercepts the beating that's coming. Like,
right.
Even with Atwater, he tried, and Kevin said, "No, listen, I appreciate the connotation, but I got to do this."
Right.
So I like that.
Right.
But even then, he still had his back, because guess what? He went to that dude's house.
Hello, and gave a speech. Because and this is before I knew that he even had a son in the show and all that stuff.
Right.
But there was a sense, like, more than just I'm a leader that's covering you. Like, I'm dad.
Right.
And I now like the context, and I'm making it subtle, that it's from this place.
Right.
Where it's, because what happens if you lose your child? When people talk about all the time when they have kids for the first time, they go, "Oh wow, I never knew I could have this much love for someone else before they've done anything to earn it."
Exactly.
Right. And then what happens when that person's gone? That love doesn't go away, so it got transferred to his team.
Right.
And so with Halstead saying whatever he said to him, that's fine. He could take that, which makes sense why he didn't get rid of Hailey and knock her in the face when she don't know how to shut up. And he just goes, "You just messed everything up. You just messed up my son,
right?
Because you're my stupid daughter. You're the dumb one,
right?
Who this week you're totally fine. Nothing's weird now. You're not saying, 'Oh, I got to kill somebody.'" See, I would respect if they kept that.
Well, you know what I did like too, is we got old Voight, but we didn't get old Voight because Voight went back to old ways. We got old Voight because this chick said, "No, your name is out there.
Thank you.
We know out there in the world of CIs, which, girl, you be careful, because the last 3 CIs got murdered. But okay, I'm waiting for it. But we know out there that if we want a case to get handled and completed, we bring it to Voight. Because he is going to make the things line up that need to line up for the case to happen.
He's Judy Justice.
I hate you.
Because he'll work. Because she once said famously in an interview, and she did it when she was on the real court.
Right.
She said, all lawyers who become judges have a philosophy of the law, which what we learn in school is the same thing. But she goes, my way of looking at the law is what the law is, but you can it's tactile enough to find the justice of it and make it say that within these confines.
Right.
His thing is, I'll work with the confines until they're at odds with said justice.
Right.
So I don't start outside.
My favorite,
I start in, and we're all good.
Yes.
And then it didn't work, because even that thing you famously said, which helped me realize the scene with him and Hailey, when you said no, he kind of made her make that decision.
Yes.
Because he kind of the way you saw it was he made sure he got the guy, he trolled the guy enough to let him do something so that she would then be in line.
If she had to do it, it'd be right. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, see, he works with that.
Right.
And it's only when it's incongruent that he goes, okay, guys, all get away, like a father would. Let me handle this. Right.
Well, and that's the thing, because that was the whole thing with that scene, because he did that. He turned the phone off.
Right.
So that was supposed to be what happened, but because he already misled Hailey in that moment, she followed him. What I loved about this is when the girl brought that to him, you could see he realized there were people who appreciated his policing or the way he policed.
Right. And it's a legacy.
Right. And it was a legacy known. What I did love is I already knew, and I'm sorry guys, I hate to tell you this, but I already knew she was going to do whatever it took to get that guy killed.
Yes.
And she was pissed. The reason I knew that, because when she told her story about her brother, she goes, no, he didn't just die.
Right.
And Voight was about to get beat down, because she was like, he killed no, he didn't just kill my brother.
He was ready to get punched again.
Yes, and by some rando.
Yeah.
But she gave him the end, and I like that. I like that Voight has grown enough to know she's not stable for this.
Right.
But still.
But his need for justice kicked in.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he knew she wasn't safe, because he said, you know what, we can't use you.
Right.
But then when he realized they had nothing else, she did that. She made sure they had nothing else, and I love that. What I loved, my favorite part was, I just brings me so much joy when she goes, "There's gonna be another drop, He's going to pick up. I'm like, this is BS. We haven't seen him talk to any other member of the crew.
Right. And he already killed the other guy.
We already saw him go crazy about Pedro and then get mad that Pedro laughed in his face. And then Pedro turns up dead in a dumpster with his tongue pinned to his chest.
And can we say that with Pedro? Now, I don't know. What's the guy's name? The dude who... Luis. Pedro knows Luis.
Right.
Why are you laughing?
Thank you. What did he say that you thought was so funny?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear him say, do you know why the chicken crossed the road?
Right. right.
Here, this dude is paranoid, talk about life.
Right. And you very paranoid.
I mean, you didn't even play it off like, oh, I thought about this hilarious meme I just saw.
Right, nothing.
Because if you're high, listen, when I get high, I like to laugh, and I look at dumb cat memes on the internet. And I laugh and laugh and laugh. Hey. So I thought that's what he was going to play it off. This dude, why would you antagonize? So you need to die.
Right. And you put everybody in there in an awkward situation because now she has to jump up.
Right. And now she has to protect.
What I didn't
and not too much.
Right. Because then it looks like she's...
Right. Like, why are you protecting him overly? It's like, well, no, because he's just... And that's when I wish... And I don't know if they could ever write that kind of stuff in to be more real. To be like, because he's such a... dummy. What are you doing? Why are you laughing?
Well, my thing was
kind of release the tension.
What I loved about this episode, and I normally hate when they do this, but what I loved about this episode was when Jay was like, no, we need to go in, and Voight's like, you don't hear her saying it's all good. I love Voight because Voight goes, wait, there's a guy on the porch. He doesn't have a weapon, but I'm gonna call him that he has a weapon. Perfect. And I love how it happened because you can see Jay's anger. Are you effing kidding me?
But then he still de-escalated it,
right? Because he had no choice.
And I like how quick thinking it was.
Right. Oh, it was so...
Because he was like, the bottom line was Jay didn't trust the girl.
Right, because he felt...
the girl, and Jay doesn't trust Voight. And Voight doesn't care.
Right.
Because he's still going to always act professionally. So he's like, okay, so what I got to do is, my thing is, I don't want her burned because she will die. And she has a
son.
A storyline.
Right.
And they're not big on giving people that. So I want her to be able to carry on this legacy episode every once in a while. And... he does save her.
That was good.
Thing by thank you.
That was good. That was good. I'll give you that.
By getting someone, by bringing them on the scene.
And I like how they ran right past him.
Yeah, to not make it too.
Kim did that so good because she ran at him. And then beelined it. So it was like, oh, what's going on over there?
Yeah. He goes, oh, we're
and
good.
Jay just looks so pissed. Like I love that his blood boiled over. He was like, are you kidding me?
Because again, he's mad at his wife, but he can't place it there.
What I did like, yes,
he has, yeah.
Can we talk about that? Because that was my thing. Was Jay's pissed off at Voight, not because of anything Voight did, but because he thinks Voight brought Hailey to here, not Hailey didn't mind her business. He knew Voight turned his phone off because he said it to her. He turned the phone off. Why was you there?
Right.
So it's like, put two and two, but he couldn't put two and two together because he's blinded by the fact that she's already damaged. He's already trying to help her get past her damage because she's helping him get past his damage. And now you add another layer of damage.
Right.
So he didn't see that. So when she finally said, I like when he walked away, and she, no, and he did the whole, my favorite part of that part was she finally said, listen, I went there by myself. Like, Voight didn't radio me. He didn't send me a text. He didn't leave me a note on my bulletin to say, meet me here. I didn't trust Voight.
But look at his response. He already knew that. But it's thing when you're blinded by emotion. Right. It's called denial.
But that's
why everyone always calls it the first stage of something.
Right, because when she said it, all of a sudden you could see the and I feel bad because like the asinine, damn it, like because him and Voight have had these headbutts before with when Dawson and Antonio was on the show. So when him and Antonio were the black and white guys,
it's always ongoing.
I like that he fell off a little bit. He got a little gray because of Hailey. But he didn't get gray.
He didn't get gray.
He
stayed black and white.
He tried to be understanding.
He is in denial.
Right.
See, there's a difference, and that's why I like how subtle he played it, because her saying it wasn't a revelation to him.
It wasn't.
To us.
That's what I loved. It wasn't like
and it still didn't change him, because he's still pissed off at Voight.
Yes.
Because it's not, she wrong, first of all, she needs to go home. Right. How come she can't go help the girls be on fire? So...
because we're already down a detective.
So good. Be down another one. Because she ain't detectivizing nothing. If a detective doesn't know how to kill a bad guy and be okay with killing a bad guy, again, what would have made it more interesting in this, and maybe they're just not ready to hit that mark in the show, is if through later evidence We find out that guy had nothing to do with it. Then her unveiling her phone
would have made sense.
Would make sense,
right?
Like where she doesn't trust her instincts as a cop or police. He literally went to the place and he played her the video that said, "Look at all the killing I've done."
Right.
And if you don't kill me right now, if you rewatch the scene, they now have a Snyder cut. And right before he pulls out the gun on Voight, he says, "Hey, Hailey." He called her by then because he knows her. He goes, "I know your address, and I know your boyfriend, husband guy, and I'm going to go kill them after I kill Voight here, and I'm going to kill you afterwards so you'll know that everybody died. And look at all the previous YouTube uploads that I've done of all my other previous killings.
Right.
And here's my brain scan that Dr. Charles verified that shows all my hatred of humankind of all time. There's nothing left in me that's human. I'm evil. I'm straight up the embodiment of evil.
Right.
Like Satan is like number 2, and I'm above Satan or below Satan. Whatever you would think. And he goes, "Okay, do you understand this?" She goes, "Yes, I understand." He goes, "Can you sign, notarize this form?" She goes, "Yes." He goes, "Okay, now what are you going to do?"
Boom.
And she goes, "Well, I have to kill the bad guys. That's what I do." "So am I a bad guy, Hailey?" "Yes, you are." "Okay, so go ahead and kill me."
Right.
And then he walked over to her. This is what, if the scene goes so fast you miss it. He went to her and had her gun in her hand, and he squeezed her finger through the trigger and killed himself. So it makes zero sense. It's 0 divided by anything.
Right. Is 0?
Is unknown. Is ineligible. Is wrong. Right. Is what are you doing? Donkey butt. Like, it doesn't work. That when she goes, I killed him. So now you're trying to have a conversation, and Jay, now he's in denial because he is not necessarily mad about her being evil. He's mad that how did I pick a dumb one? Right. How did I go so wrong?
But here's the thing too. Here's the spin on it, right? Because here's the thing with Voight. Voight knows everything, right? That's the rhetoric.
But he's losing.
But here's because he's trying to, because Deputy Samantha Richardson or whatever was telling him he can't be doing that stuff.
Right.
What I like is,
which has zero effect on him, by the way. He don't care.
What Jay's really mad at is Jay is mad because Voight should have known Hailey was going to follow him.
Yes.
And that's what Jay really is mad at, because Voight always knows.
He's like, why didn't you stop her?
Like, you knew she was coming because you guys already beefed that episode. Right. Why didn't you end the beef at the office beforehand? So this way she had
You're always in control with everyone else.
Right. So
how did you not nip this in the bud? And that's why I like being validated, because you thought I was wrong, but I said it several episodes ago. I'm very proud of myself. I said it's Voight's fault because he's normally a very good judge of character. He always knows everything. By the time they say it to him, he goes, "Oh, I knew that yesterday."
Right.
And so what you've done is he was a bad character call, and he didn't know her fault lines,
right?
And so that's on him. He should know because he's written that's his backstory,
right?
So he does that, and he did it wrong,
and that's what Jay's mad at, because Jay's been with him 9 years.
Jay hasn't articulated it well
because he doesn't know.
He doesn't know the words,
right?
And he's in denial.
And that's when that's what I got from the scene with her and Jay. I'm like, he just realized now he's mad because Voight couldn't predict or didn't predict that she was going to follow him.
And I want him to make that revelation and have like a beer with Voight, and they're talking about it. And then, so he says that to Voight, and Voight just in his Voight way says, "And you didn't catch on to her character either as a detective." And then they kind of end this scene like with
the understanding.
We both missed it.
Right.
And then the next episode, she's not there.
Well,
and she leaves a letter.
Don't get carried away.
I like this. No, she leaves a letter.
I don't.
That says, remember, she's always trying to go away anyway. She has.
I want to wait till we have at least
she's
one
like
more
a leaf
detective
in the wind.
They're getting too low on detectives.
No, they're totally fine. The lady can reach for waffles now, so she fills that in, and get the daughter to be a detective. And all of a sudden, she writes a letter to Jay that says, "You're right. I wanted to leave and never be part of nobody. I never had my walls or my things down, and my boundary border or whatever. And now this just makes sense. I'm a flawed bird," whatever dumb line they give her to be poetic, and leave. because she is so distracting to me. I know I'm probably the only one, but I can't.
Well,
the Reach for Syrup girl, because how in the good loving mother luck do you get nearly killed, beaten up, shot at in the face? He kicked your kidney into your behind and twisted your arm through your ear.
I understand your frustration.
And 1 week later,
I understand your frustration.
You're trying to reach for some syrup, which I don't know why you put the syrup so high.
You're mad at the wrong people.
And then all of a sudden, the next scene, you're not getting over the there's not one dust job, one episode just for one quick rest. Even with Troy, he's learning to do something, and he's been gone for 4 weeks. And then you come in and you're totally fine, and you're running
because you're mad at the wrong people.
No, I'm mad at her.
You're mad because the writers put it. They're just doing a job. At the end of the day, they're doing what they was on the paper.
Exactly.
Right? They can't argue the paper.
Here's what the paper ought to say.
They argue the paper check.
You have to do it. You have to make a stand. Otherwise, violence. Like follow the science. Violence or words. Violence or words. And it's it's just distracting because Hailey.
I will say Hailey's is more distracting for me because with Kim had, to me, it wasn't as distracting because we had the season finale,
right?
And then it was gone. Hailey's was more distracting because yes, it happened in the season finale, but her devolution happened in 3 episodes.
Thank you.
So it was like, wait, hold on,
and then it just went away.
Right
now, she's apparently sleeping.
Now she's a cop again. You know what? I will say, on your defense and in your favor, I did tweet, Hailey, you look rested. So I did. I have to find that tweet and like it. I'm gonna do it after the show. I did tweet that. I was like, oh, Hailey, you look rested.
Thank you.
Because I agree with you on Kim's part. I think they couldn't drag. Here's the reason they couldn't drag it out. And you haven't been with the show long, but Kim is like the Maggie of PD.
So don't mess with her.
They always give her
everything.
Yeah, she got beat up before. She's gotten like when her and Ruzek broke up. Ruzek didn't care that he hurt her, but it wasn't that he hurt her. He just was trying to keep it where they're not together because they both work on the same team. And she was a beat cop. Her and Kevin were both unions.
Now she's just a cop that got beat. So it's...
I like that. That was good. But her and Kevin were both unis when the show started.
Right. Oh, okay.
And then they both moved into intelligence. And Kevin had her back. Like, when Ruzek first tried to come at her, and he was like, hey, girl. Right. Kevin was like, yo...
Back up.
Don't get beat up.
Right. Let her get beat up. Right. That's her job.
Right. So it was like she's always.
She'll be fine after 2 episodes, though. She'll be running around.
That's why she's getting the. That's why she had the hashtags BAB Badass Burgess, because she's had some things which she had to overcome. So I think truthfully they would have probably liked to have gone maybe another episode with her still kind of going through it,
or at least a limp every once in a while.
But I think because of losing Rojas and then not having. Because I think had they not lost Rojas, and I still think that was an unplanned exit.
Right.
So I think not having Rojas on it leaves, because I will say one thing they noticed with the PD is they try to give everybody in the show a time to shine. Like we got 3 or 4 episodes of Kevin.
Right.
We had almost a half season with Ruzek and the Alderman. We had Jay and Antonio, and they had a whole couple episode arc on dealing with Voight and how they are black and white, and Voight does what it takes. So Hailey's just now starting to get those kind of storylines. I think that's why they dropped the ball with her, because she's gotten Hailey. I feel bad for Hailey because Hailey was the Erin replacement, and they didn't do it well because she looked like Erin, and then you paired her up with Erin's ex, so she was like the afterthought, and they just kind of like, oh crap, we gotta do something with her.
She's still afterthought,
and that's the problem. I think they haven't been able to. It's kind of like how they haven't given Ritter a backstory in Fire.
Thank you.
They still got to try to keep.
It's incompetence.
Yeah, right. And
it's not hard to write her character.
It's not.
But because they already planted the story.
Right.
She's someone who's flighty, broken. She doesn't trust people and doesn't do anything. So why in the man? Listen,
and that's because originally that scene was written for Rojas' character.
That's fine. Well, now write it for her. Well, that's no big deal. I don't give them a pass. Listen, now someone else is in the scene.
Right.
Rojas ain't there. Hashtag Rojas gone.
Right.
So hashtag write better. So it's not that hard. You wrote her in as someone who is not trusting of people. She has a mother effing bad guy who they didn't know at that moment wasn't going to die from those wounds, who shot her friend and colleague and was getting ready to shoot her mentor.
I will say, Voight messed up by not telling her he wasn't dead.
But
he told Jay that he wasn't dead until
until later.
So,
but even with all that, she's killing somebody
who did the harm,
who's doing the harmful
to the city.
Thank you to all those people,
to her partner,
and who's getting ready to do it now to her mentor, and then to her. He wasn't going to stop at the mentor,
exactly,
and he was going to be free and do it all around the world and go on tour. So if she doesn't trust people, a person who doesn't trust. So you kill him. That's consistent with not trusting. You didn't write her as a bookworm who became a detective, who was all like, she liked the science of the police or the law of it, the books of it, and now, all of a sudden she's thrust into the most violent detective department of all time that ever lived, that every week they're doing shootouts, and she's shot for the first time. And then there's a character who would devolve. This is a character who already doesn't, whatever. So the reaction of the character needs to not be, oh, now she's well rested. It needs to be, oh, yeah, you know what? All the things that I feared have come upon me, like Job. I now realize I don't deserve you, Jay. I gotta leave, because I destroyed you on purpose.
And to be honest, I mean that could be
intentionally.
The build. I mean,
she intentionally. No build. Just get rid of it.
Her leaving. I think that could be
rip the Band-Aid. You told Jay, literally on purpose. You waited to break down when Jay was alone in the room. You didn't tell Ruzek, who would have been like, I don't care. You waited until Jay was holding you.
Told Kim that you guys killed the guy that beat the snot out of her.
To give her some closure, but I get it. You don't want her to go, reaching for syrup again. So all of a sudden, you're thinking she got over it. Right? So no one loves the Kim anymore. That's the magginess of it all. So now you waited till he gave you a hug after you were doing a case where literally you're being spoon-fed Jay's black and whiteness. And you're learning he doesn't like gray. As soon as I gave him a gray look, I was dead to my boy. And then you pick, you know what a good thing I should do? Now that I have broken down those walls, now that I did get Jay to be convinced with me, now that we are moving in together, we bought a dog together, we're gonna find our own black girl to adopt, we're gonna do this whole thing. All of a sudden, now let me work his detectiveness and give him clues. Obvious clues.
I would say very obvious.
That's clues. If I was going to try to scare you and I'm sitting here and I'm just looking like this the whole time, I'm clearly wanting you to look at what I'm looking at. And then when you look at it, I go, how dare you? Why'd you look that way? How'd you put two and two to get? It's so distracting. I can't get rid of her. Go, Girl on Fire. Go. Hey, what's her name? Who's on Girls on Fire?
Kid.
She's gone missing. When have we heard from Kim? We haven't seen him text her, right? She's missing. What do detectives do? They find missing girls. You go look for Kid. That's where you go. There's your assignment. And then when you find her, she's just barely lived. She also got shot, punched in the kidney or whatever it is. Get her back home to be healed with Severide, and you step in for her over there and fix those fire girls. That you get rid of her. This character, they wrote her into a corner. There's nothing you can do now because the only thing left is if she stays on the show, you have to make Jay gray, and that goes against his fundamentals. So we now know these writers aren't capable of doing stuff. So you wrote she needs to go. That's it.
We'll see. You're done. I guess. I mean, it could be where they're going.
No, logically, you can't do that. Jay's great.
No, I mean, they could be going with getting ready to remove her. Yeah, we don't know because they haven't given us any foreshadow. So
I hope that was enough foreshadow. I'm done with these people. But it was a good episode despite all that stuff. It really was.
And that's the worst part. That is the best worst part. It was such. I was like the opening. I was like I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yes. And up to the end, it actually ended well.
Right.
And even that line where Trudy says to him, don't kill me for saying this, but are you getting over it? You could talk to me about anything.
Oh, yes. You don't have to go by it yourself.
Yeah. Oh. So I think that was a good foreshadow. Maybe like 8 episodes from now, they'll like revisit that because he does need to kind of work through that, and it's interesting to see where they'll take that.
Right.
But I was like, wow,
it was good,
son. Yeah, it was good, good stuff. And I really wanted that meal, except for the chocolate shake. I was like, if vanilla shake, that would have been good, but no. And I like. Oh, just one last thing about that scene. Even the waitress,
yes,
like knew that was like a thing.
A thing, yeah.
You know, and she was like, okay, so I'm gonna walk away now. Ah, just broke my heart. But
it was sad, yeah.
It's good. I just don't. The only thing that could make that worse is they found out that he was running. So keep the remote close, but your savior even closer. In the words of Mrs. Doubtfire, run faster. Bye bye.
The TiVoMike Show is produced by Michael Jefferson. Our soundboard operator is Mike Warner, and our theme music is by Eric Dano. Special thanks to all those who make it so we can be here, and you, our great listeners. That's it for the TiVoMike Show. I'm Mike Warner. See you tomorrow when we guide the lost TV viewing saints to the myriad of banal TV shows amongst the low-hanging fruit to find the next great predictive series. Good night.